This is a man even gods are afraid to provoke. He once eliminated nearly 100 zombies barehanded, earning him the nickname What the Hell. When his underling got into a spat with someone else, Uncle Dong swung a heavy punch without hesitation. Didn't you see we were talking? The fate of the other guy's underling was even worse. He thought it was just a couple of slaps, but Uncle Dong actually resorted to such brutal tactics. It wasn't over yet. Uncle Dong, in a sudden whim, mixed his teeth with alcohol and forced the other boss to drink it. Now the feud was sealed tight. However, such a ruthless person still had someone daring to tail him. The other driver was dressed in black, looking very mysterious. Uncle Dong saw that the car wasn't badly damaged and signaled for him to leave, but this guy seemed to be very polite, insisting that Uncle Dong compensate him. Uncle Dong was too lazy to argue with him and turned to leave, but was suddenly stabbed in the back. The two of them fought each other instantly. This guy wasn't a pushover either, and with Uncle Dong's injury, he accidentally got stabbed in the chest. That's what pissed off Uncle Tung. After being stabbed, the murderer fled in his car. Uncle Dong didn't have time to dodge and was knocked over, unconscious. Fortunately, someone took him to the hospital in time. When his underling heard about it, he didn't go to visit his boss right away but instead went to the enemy gang's hideout, causing chaos. By the time they got to the hospital, Uncle Dong had already survived the life-threatening situation. He told his assistant that the perpetrator wasn't from the enemy gang, because if it was them, he wouldn't have been able to leave the scene alive. Moreover, the murderer's eyes were filled with killing intent, but he had no trace of gangster mentality. As they were talking, police officer David burst in, looking happy about the disaster. Uncle Dong wanted to slap him twice. After watching the show, David got down to business, saying he came to get some leads on the murderer from Uncle Dong. However, the reply was, "I got injured because I tripped last night." It was clearly telling him that he would handle this matter himself, so the police didn't need to worry about it. But how could David just let it go? He rushed to the hospital parking lot and found that Uncle Dong's car had been rear-ended. The modus operandi was identical to the previous two murders. It seemed that the killer was the same person. Before leaving the hospital, Uncle Dong found a sketch artist to draw a portrait of the murderer based on his description. A citywide manhunt officially began. The next day he began to consult other teachers about Mina's situation, but none of them patiently answered his questions. In their eyes it's normal for a student to skip class for several days in a row. Later Magu also found someone smoking in the women's restroom. He stormed in and asked for a series of 3 questions at comma. Where did you hide the cigarettes? No one answered. He had no choice but to look for it himself. And this early morning, he found something terrible at comma cameras. Someone had installed cameras in the women's restroom. This was no small matter. He originally wanted to report the situation to the leadership, but he felt that even if he did, the school wouldn't take it seriously, so he kept quiet. When he got home, Magu discovered that the pervert who installed the camera was the art teacher at the school. He went over to question the art teacher, but no one was in the office. He decided to open the computer to look for evidence. Coincidentally, he saw the chat between the art teacher and Anna. They seemed to have agreed on a meeting place and were about to meet. There was also the chat record between the art teacher and Mina from a few days ago. Mago quickly called Anna and told her that Mina's disappearance might be related to the art teacher. He urged them not to meet, but by then, Anna was already in his car. Mago told her that the person who installed the camera in the women's restroom was definitely up to no good. Hearing this, Anna was also a bit scared. On their way, she tentatively asked the teacher about Mina's situation. Her question was met with a punch in the face. Fortunately, before this, she had sent the address of their meeting to Magu. Sure enough, the art teacher was a pervert. He used his good-looking face to get along with the girls. Then, under the pretext of tutoring, he would lure them home and molest them. Mago rushed to the address according to the information. With just a few punches, he knocked out the beaten art teacher. He then broke into the house and found the evidence. Coincidentally, the art teacher was the most powerful candidate in the election. The principal, Mr. Kim, was his father. No wonder the police turned a blind eye. Shortly afterwards, Mago was also unfairly fired from the school. After losing his job, Mago received a phone call. Mina is dead. The police retrieved her body from the river. Mina's grandmother also fell ill because she lost her only relative. Maji's police assistant friend helped him sneak out Mina's phone from the police station. They discovered that the last person she contacted on the day of her disappearance was the mama-san from the club. Mago found her, and upon hearing the news of Mina's death, the mama-san didn't hide anything anymore. On that evening, Nina was singing at the club, and among the customers happened to be Principal Kim. Later, Nina received a phone call informing her that her grandmother was sick. Worried about her, she wanted to leave early from work, so she went to Principal Kim to ask for permission. When Principal Kim realized that she recognized him, his expression changed. "What? You know me?" Mina said she was a student of his school. With the principal going wild at a club, especially during an election period, and with Mina revealing it, that couldn't be allowed. Coincidentally, one of the customers took an interest in Mina and kept her from leaving. Poor Mina, in order to go back home and take care of her grandmother, bit the customer and escaped. Afterward, Mina called the art teacher and asked him to escort her home. But halfway through, she received a threatening call from the club owner, so she had no choice but to wait at the designated location location for the owner to pick her up. When the owner arrived, he found a person dressed in black who had already suffocated her. And this person was the son of Principal Kim, the art teacher. It seems he became jealous when Mina got out of the car halfway. That's why he committed such an extreme act. Principal Kim held quite a lot of power, and the club owner was his underling. He rushed over and gave the art teacher a few good slaps. At this moment, Mina regained consciousness and overheard their conversation. Principal Kim was worried that Mina would talk too much, so he directly suffocated her. So the real culprits were the father and son. At this time, a friend nearby called Ma-gu and informed him that the art teacher had been released early. Ma-gu realized that this pervert would definitely seek revenge. He quickly tried to contact Anna but couldn't reach her. He went straight to the art teacher's house and rescued Anna. On their way to the hospital, it started pouring rain, with one hand driving the car and the other supporting the unconscious Anna. Meanwhile, outside the operating room, Ma-gu saw the news of Principal Kim's election victory. After pondering for a moment, he stood up, got in his car, and intercepted Principal Kim on the road. With one punch, he smashed the car window. By then, the police had also arrived. Principal Kim faced justice, and the movie ends here. In the end, Ma-gu drove away from the town.